The following is a presentation from PokerStars.com.
For me, it started small. From pool halls in Toronto to poke rooms in Las Vegas.
It's given me a life
I never could have dreamed.
The game has taken me around the world. I've seen it all.
From the Windy City to Sin City.
This game can make you a legend.
This game can make you a champion.
It may have started small.
It may have started,
But now, it's the big game.
This is the next generation.
It doesn't get any bigger than this.
This is the PokerStars.com Big Game.
Welcome to Las Vegas and the newest big game in town. Alongside Joe Stapleton, I'm Chris Rose. And tonight, some of the world's best are bringing over 600 grand to the table in our state-of-the-art poker room.
Tony G is back and starting off with over 178K, clearly the amount he left in the cage after the last time he played.
Poker pro Vanessa Rousso has bought in for the traditional $100,000.
Happy-go-lucky Daniel Negreanu is starting off with double that amount, plus 400 for good measure.
One of the young guns in poker, Scott Seiver, a bracelet winner, has opted for the 100K buy-in.
And Vegas cash game veteran Todd Brunson is doing the same $100,000 starting stack.
And our final player at the table is 28-year-old Aaron Jensen from Seattle. He's been staked 100 grand to play, and he's promised to spend his profits on a dream wedding for his long-suffering fiancée. He's standing by with Amanda Leatherman.
All right, Aaron, you've already had a bit of success in life, but this is it. This is the big leagues. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm definitely ready. I've been thinking about it a lot for the last couple of weeks, and it's been a lot of studying and stressing, and kind of cleared my mind.
No more stress.
Nope. I'm just ready to go. Ready to do it.
All right, Aaron, go get him.
Remember, each cannon staked 100 grand. They get to keep all profits above that initial buy-in. And at season's end, the loose cannon who's won the most money earns a North American Poker Tour passport worth $50K.
Howdy. How's it going?
Good, yeah. You ready to gamble?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you're trying to win your startup money here.
No, I'm trying to win wedding money here.
Wedding money, that's right. You're getting married, yeah. So we're gonna all do you a favor and bust you.
Maybe getting married, Depends how this goes. You're playing for your wedding. You might actually propose on set.
I proposed, yeah.
So you might set a date on set.
Maybe. Well, I gotta find a place first. I mean, that's the challenge.
We're gonna save you half your money by busting you.
How's
that?
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that.
50% of all poker marriages do end in chopped pots.
Jensen, 9-8 suited, raises to 1,400. Tony G calls.
14 right off the bat, huh? I will come very strong.
Pocket pair for Daniel. Calls. Scott folds.
What's the saying all you people use? Too rich for my blood?
Tom Brunson with a chance to defend.
You can't come in here and play tight.
Oh, I'm not going to play tight.
Oh, that's bad.
Oh, that gets to be the first hand.
That's really bad.
10-4 queen. Brunson checks. Flush draw for Jensen. Bets 3,000. Tony G calls.
It's an action flop already. Flush and gutter ball draw for the loose cannon.
Just me and you.
Just me and you, Tony.
Could be a soft double up.
Top pair for Tony.
Is that a promise?
No.
5 of diamonds on the turn.
He's honest. You gotta respect that.
No improvement for Jensen's hand.
The loose cannon checks. Tony fires 10 grand.
We gotta keep building that pot. Pick up ace king or ace queen.
Tony's hand is very likely to be good here, and he has position.
Jensen calls. 9 of spades on the river. Jensen checks.
What's good now? King jack's good. It's the Ralph Perry hand.
That's a famous televised hand where Tony G went on a tirade because Ralph Perry called all in against him with King Jack.
That's a sick one.
Oh, and by the way, Tony won that hand.
I do believe I have a jack on me.
Use it. Wow.
You could have kings, then you'd call me. I check.
Tony wins the opening pot worth more than 32,000.
8-9.
Pair of nines.
Queen good. Queen good. Wow, that was an aggressive start. Wow.
If you made 2 pair, you would have been
wow, 8-9 under the gun? What's going on?
Hi.
You trying to win the
married.
wedding money? This is bad. I know the lady's not watching. I had a chat with her. She's like stressed. This is not good.
After one hand, our loose cannon stuck over 14 grand, but it doesn't seem to have him down. Here are the rules of the big game. Each table lasts 150 hands. The action pre-flop is pot limit, then no limit after the flop. Blinds are 2 and 400 with a $100 ante, all of which is paid by the player on the button. And every player begins with at least 100K, but can reload for a $500,000.
All right, guys, we're doing a straddle. Everyone's doing a straddle.
Give it a little bit. Let the game, ferment.
We got to do a straddle, man.
This is not something to...
You can't come in and play tight here on my table while I'm in the game.
Your table.
I feel it's like my table because I play every hand.
It does feel like your table. I agree.
I play every hand.
You've earned the right to call this your table. I agree.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm serious.
I played more hands than anyone else. Yeah. Maybe Daniel can rival me.
Close. No, you got me covered.
Bang, Vanessa.
Vanessa raises to 1,600 with the Ralph Perry hand.
I hope Tony gave her permission to raise at his table.
Big play here for
Action folds around to Tony G. Ace tray.
Okay.
Tony calls.
What'd you pick up, Vanessa? What'd you pick up? An ace jack or something? Why was it such a weak raise?
Queen 7 deuce. Tony checks. Vanessa checks.
I check again. I think I like checking.
Tony checks in the dark.
Okay.
Vanessa checks. 9 on the river.
I check.
Check.
You win.
King high.
King high, no.
You can't say you win then.
How do you say you win? You have ace high. That's a slow roll.
That's not a slow. She re-raised me. She raised.
She could have 8, 7.
That's messed up.
That was a slow roll. What, you can't have king
That
jack?
is messed up.
King jack's round. You can't play that hand against me.
Everyone plays it against you.
Yo, what are you talking about?
That's a slow roll.
Okay, that's no good. Yeah, I agree.
You win?
2,000 dead.
I was absolutely sure you have ace king. Absolutely certain.
Well, let's keep these absolute certainties
How
coming.
can you come in here and re-raise me with a king high?
I'm a huge fan of these absolute
Did you have
certainties.
king? You had king jack?
We're 0 for 1 on absolute certainties.
Vanessa, that's disgraceful.
I'll be keeping track all day.
You're better off limping in. At least you don't get embarrassed.
He calls her out of position with a weak ace, slow rolls her, and then calls her a disgrace.
Well, Vanessa has limped in this time with a pocket pair. Scott Seiver has something 8 of diamonds.
Some people see 1 ace and it's good enough for a raise. For Scott Seiver, it's an 8, I guess.
He raises to 2,200. Brunson folds. Jensen out. Tony G.
The problem is these guys like that come here and play a good hand only, and they're like, you fold 3 hands, I'm not going to give you any action.
Come on, Tony. Almost fell out of my seat.
You can take Vanessa on for me.
We know Scott's got 1 overcard to Vanessa's pair. He may be facing a re-raise.
Vanessa calls. It's 10-8. Thank you.
2 overcards.
Queen, Jack, King.
Check.
Vanessa checks.
Prepare to see this look a lot from Scott Seiver. He believes the nostrils are the windows to the soul.
Scott fires 3,800.
What is this thing? I'm getting confused.
Vanessa folds.
What is this, Scott, really?
Honestly,
every time?
No.
Every time,
Okay,
cover the nose?
I'll tell you the truth.
Okay, we need to know. The world needs to know.
I just thought it would get Tony really mad and that he'd play back that hand.
If you do this?
Just for the first one, that's it. I just thought Tony would be like, I'm sick of these kids and this and you know what? That's it.
Come
Screw
here on
this
my
kid.
table, you wait for a big hand and then you raise. You know, like raise with nothing first. It's easy, okay, you got ace.
You don't know Scott, do you?
I know, I know.
He goes, no, I know.
But we'll see what he produces.
He immediately stops his preset speech to say, no, I know, he probably had deuce 3.
If you don't know who Scott Seiver is, you should. He's cashed for over $2.1 million in tournaments since 2008. He's got one of those neat little bracelets, too.
I mean, you know me.
That's the rule. I know, just don't get out of hand, out of line.
You wouldn't play this hand, it's too good for you.
He's also getting a bit of a reputation for being a talker at the
We
table.
don't want to be predictable here. Oh, look at this, Vanessa. It's me and you. I got to raise it 1,200.
When have I ever been called predictable? I have many things.
See, if you re-raise, then you build the pot so big, and then you're going to get bluffed out in the big pot.
Oh, boy. Vanessa's got pocket rockets.
I'd say it's the perfect time to listen to Tony and re-raise.
Just called.
Better. Keep the pots low. I bet 2,000.
Yeah.
That's fair, you know. I think it's better betting in the dark.
Tony bets in the dark and flops 2 pair.
A dark raise, that's hard and commitment to the game.
OM Tony G. Karma has left the building. I think we're about to see 2 people committed to this pot.
Vanessa raises to 5,000.
I'm gonna raise it again.
Tony re-raises to 20 grand.
You can get it all in.
Tony G sounding very confident.
You ready?
Tony G is capable of this song and dance whether he's strong or bluffing. Vanessa is going to have a hard time getting away from this one.
You ready? If you win the hand, you keep me quiet.
Don't believe you. That bluff I'll call. That bluff I'll call.
Tony just added unspeakable equity to this pot.
Vanessa calls.
Tony's bombed the flop, which may make Vanessa think he's on a draw.
An ace on the turn. Rousso has top set.
Hello, nasty. As Tony G would say, ace from space, and Vanessa has gone from 0 to hero.
Tony G does have a flush draw.
10,000.
And bets 10,000.
You could shut me right up.
How?
Well, by being all in and winning the pot.
Punch in the face.
Can I just push a button?
That ace dramatically improves Vanessa's hand, but if she put Tony on spades, he just got there.
She just calls.
On spade watch.
I check.
Tony checks in the dark. The river. A sick card, the 5 of hearts.
Now you got to show some guts. Can you bet this, or are you going to make a really weak check now on the end? Go on, Vanessa. You can do it.
For Vanessa, best card ever. Full house over full house.
All in.
Call.
Ace is full.
Wow, very nice. That's the best. Very nice.
You got screwed?
I got a full house too on the end.
Wow.
And a flush draw. That's it. That shut me up. Well done, Vanessa.
Vanessa doubles through.
I got lucky, obviously.
Not really. I mean, it's...
We took turns getting lucky. I got lucky to get the aces. You got lucky on the flop. I got lucky on the turn.
I haven't won one hand when I've been good. So. It's consistent.
But if you really had 5-6, that's super unlucky.
Of course I had 5-6.
That's really unlucky.
Karma has re-entered the building. Let's see if it sticks around.
So Vanessa is up more than 92 grand, just 4 hands into the night. Not a bad 10 minutes work.
That was fun.
The big game is just heating up. More from Las Vegas coming your way after this. Welcome back to Vegas, where we just saw Vanessa Rousso scoop up a pot of nearly 200 grand on just the 4th hand of the night. Right now, Vanessa is with Amanda.
Vanessa, that was a pretty big pot. Is that the biggest pot you've ever won?
I think by a small margin it is. I think the biggest pot I'd won before this was like 150,000.
What were you thinking when he snap called?
I was expecting him to call. I mean, I was thinking of how much I had to, bet there. I was like thinking, should it be a small value bet, a bigger value bet? And the more he talked, the more I was pretty sure that he hit that river. He had checked in the dark, and my read was that he was pretty disappointed in himself that he had checked in the dark, and he was trying to egg me on to bet bigger. And then I realized that he liked the river, and so I decided to go big. And I got lucky. He did have what he says, 5's full, and so.
Well, it's funny because he was trying to bully you around at first. Does it feel good to shut him up?
I mean, no, we're friends. It was a total cooler situation, so I empathize with that for him. But I mean, I'm glad I was on the good end of it.
All right. Well, get out there and good luck.
All right, thanks.
As you can see, Vanessa is off to a great start. Tony G, not so much. And our loose cannon, Aaron Jensen, is already in the hole after betting and missing a big draw on the first hand.
Tony G bested the loose cannon on hand number 1, then promptly handed that money and then some to Vanessa Rousso.
Action begins with Scott Seiver, 10-7 offsuit, folds, Brunson folds. Ace-10 for the loose cannon.
He raised it up with 9-8 early.
And he raises to 1,400.
Tony's going to take at least one hand off.
Not a good turn.
Vanessa suited connectors.
Nothing else it can be.
Calls. Tony still talking to himself about that other hand.
We might be in for a monologue from Tony's off-Broadway play.
Ace-King tray. Vanessa checks bottom pair. Jensen fires 2,000 with top pair.
It was just 10. I mean, I got a flush draw. It's like unbelievable. Wow.
Vanessa's got bottom pair.
And calls.
Vanessa's seen Jensen fire a continuation bet on a semi-bluff in the first hand, so she wants to see another card.
Which is the 9 of diamonds. Vanessa checks. Jensen fires 5,000.
Vanessa's asking herself if Jensen would barrel here with nothing. Last time he slowed down by the turn when he wasn't strong.
Vanessa folds.
Nice hand.
Thank you.
Nice hand indeed. Our loose cannon played that one exactly by the book.
Well, after picking up that pot, Aaron is creeping back up in chips. Let's hear a little bit more about this 28-year-old self-proclaimed nerd.
My name is Aaron Jensen, and I'm from Seattle, Washington. I kind of admitted a long time ago I was a nerd. It's something I just kind of learned to live with. Oh, you know, I mean, all my hobbies are geeky. I mean, like video games. I mean, I liked video games before video games were cool, you know. Just everything I do, I like to dive in. Photography or RC helicopters. I mean, all kind of geeky hobbies. I went to college during the whole .com boom, and then I ended up at Microsoft. At Microsoft, I was just an individual contributor, software developer. So I wanted to go try my luck at a startup. I co-founded a company that teaches English to Asia now, and so I don't do as much programming now as I used to, but I kind of manage the programmers and the operations side of things now. Another interesting thing about me is I came up with an iPhone app. So the app is called Pic Translator, and with it I can take a picture of some text like this. I'm coming for you, Daniel. And I can translate it into something like Spanish. Voy a por ti, Daniel.
Doesn't he know Daniel speaks Canadian?
There's no app for that.
Do we have reloads, Tony?
No, no reloads. That's it.
That's it? No, come on.
No reloads. That's it. That's what I'm playing with.
Tony, you're not playing just that, for the record.
I'm playing just that.
I have money that I would be willing to loan you.
No, it's fine.
Because I know you're good for it, because I know you're a rich man.
No, but I don't like playing when it's not running good. I like playing when it's...
I hear you. I'm just letting you know that the offer is available.
Thank you.
If you need a bank...
You can tell what someone thinks of you as a player by how badly they want to loan you money in a poker game.
No. I'm a better. We'll see.
Action folds over to the money bags.
Daniel's favorite hand, 10-7 offsuit.
Raises to 1,500. Seiver folds. Brunson.
Uh-oh.
Calls.
You heard Daniel say, uh-oh. Todd Brunson is a feared cash game player.
King ace-7.
And he's been pretty quiet tonight so far.
Goes check, check. Another ace on the turn. Brunson fires 2,500.
These guys are chopping right now.
Sick laydown.
Daniel folds.
It really is.
7-8.
It's pretty damn close. My favorite hand.
He's 7-8.
Huh? You had we would have chopped it.
He's 7-6 then. Oh, 7-10.
I had 7-10.
Todd gets Daniel to fold a chop based on his image.
Could have raised.
Then he does a little advertising. Hey guys, maybe I'm not so tight.
You know, image is everything. We're back with more after this.
My name is Scott, Master Blaster Seiver. I don't really have a name for this action I take when I'm in hands. People laugh about it. I feel whether you're conscious or not of it, you might give things away with your hand motions, your swallowing. There's all sorts of little like autonomic gestures you might have in your face and your hands that you don't even realize you're doing. And by having just a very preset thing, whether it's silly or not, I'm able to recognize that I'm doing the exact same thing every time. And that, you know, definitely minimizes the physical tells I give off.
Scott says the maneuver also allows him to make a wide variety of animal calls, but it mostly only attracts donkeys.
I just have one question. Is Jonah Hill going to have to learn how to do that when he plays him in the movie?
Jonah Hill and Seth Rogen had a kid, and his name was Scott Seiver.
Enough. Let's get back to poker. Brunson folds. Jensen, ace tray. Out. Tony G folds. Vanessa Rousso. Another suited connector.
Even though they're baby cards, these are juicy hands for pros.
Raised to 1,000. Daniel folds.
These things, they happen.
Scott. Deuce 8 suited. Calls.
Pretty loose defend from Scott.
The flop. 4-9 jack. Vanessa hits bottom pair.
Where's the hand thing?
Too busy betting.
2,500.
There we go.
Scott Seiver doesn't want to give anything away while he bluffs this pot.
Vanessa calls.
This is a draw-heavy board, and Scott's range is all over the place, so Vanessa might like our 4 for now.
King of diamonds on the turn. Scott checks. Vanessa checks.
The king would have completed an open-ended straight draw.
Board pairs on the river.
Scott's reaching for chips. He must feel as if Vanessa had any part of this board, she'd have bet it by now.
He bets 1,600.
It's a very small bet. Vanessa has a hand with perfect showdown value for that size of a bet.
She calls.
8 high.
At least he called his hand. 8 high. Dun, 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 dun.
Vanessa wins a pot of 11,000.
Maybe Scott Seiver needs to start playing in a ski mask.
Didn't have much to beat. Put some more spice into that. 1,600.
I was hoping she'd raise, to be honest.
You were gonna re-raise?
Yeah.
Nice move.
If she raised, I was making it 25,000 on top.
Vanessa's off to a great start.
It's good.
What?
You got to enjoy that. That's a good moment.
What?
I'm enjoying it for you. I mean, I can have pleasure by being on your side in that pot. You know, it's so fun, so much fun.
That's awesome. If you're being serious, that's really cool.
I am.
And the weirdest thing is that I actually feel bad from your side of the pot because it really is a 6 setup, 6-6. I mean, that's not happening any other way.
People love it. I was giving you so much. It was great. I mean, I think
You were needling her and then you got screwed.
It was a little bit ironic.
It's fine, but that's, you know, we need all kind of personalities.
Scott raises to 1,500 with a pocket pair.
All the congratulating of Vanessa is actually Tony's version of a bad beat story.
Action folds to Tony.
I wish I could do something about it. I can't call. You'll predict me too much.
Tony.
Scott picks up the pot.
I just
My 8 high is better than that.
I just can't be bothered check folding to you.
Can't be bothered with the check in the fold? Takes very little time. You can check before it comes out and fold when I go like this.
The 16, you might have like a 5-3, and then we you know.
5-6.
You had 5-6 that hand? Wow. Really? You had 5-6? It was just too early to play the 5 deuce.
Say it wouldn't have been too early. It's now too.
If I'd have won the hand, I would have played every single hand.
But then my 5-6 would have taken it all.
You would have taken a re-raise. I would have actually been excited with that.
Yeah. That's why I honestly asked if you had a reload, because it's going to be much more fun with bigger chips.
No, it's not a matter of not having
no, of course,
an opportunity, but it's like I don't like playing when I'm losing. I get down a bit.
No, I understand for sure.
Another pocket pair for Seiver. And another raise to 1,500. Brunson folds. Jensen. Ace-Jack.
Aaron's picked his initials up. Aaron Jensen.
A re-raise to 4,000.
There you go, loose cannon.
He has a name.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
A loose cannon.
He's just a body with a stack of chips in front of it.
Action folds back to Seiver.
Aaron's given Scott bad immediate odds to make this call.
4,000 total?
But deuces are powerful because a set can often get you someone's entire stack.
Scott calls, and we'll see the flop, which is Queen Tray 8. Scott checks.
Scott's deuces are good. Deuces are going to be good on the flop against overcards a fair percentage of the time.
Jensen leads out, betting 6,000. Seiver calls.
Jensen's missed, but he seems undeterred.
The turn, and Jensen hits his jack. Seiver checks. Jensen fires 12,000. Seiver folds.
Loose cannon wins another one by the book. Can't wait to see what happens when these guys play back at him.
Can't withstand the pressure.
Our loose cannon, Aaron Jensen, seems to be handling the pressure just fine. He's almost back to even after that very tough first hand. We're coming back with more. Hold tight. Welcome back to Las Vegas in the big game. Alongside Joe Stapleton, I'm Chris Rose. We have seen plenty of action so far, and right now the action's on Mr. Action himself, Todd Brunson.
Oh, I see those sarcasm classes are really paying off, Chris.
Thank you. Action folds over to Tony G, who makes it 1,000.
I've got the button. Watch out.
Over to Scott, King Deuce.
You got to make it like 3 or something.
Nope, just calls.
No, I'm going to wait. Setting the trap.
9-7 King, top pair for Seiver.
Trap is set.
Did you flop a pair?
Tony bets.
You want to know the truth?
Yeah.
No.
Seiver calls.
And lies.
Me too. I got no pay yet. That's sick.
Jack of diamonds on the turn. Check by Seiver. Bet by Tony.
I have to ask you now because you owe me one. Did you turn a pair?
Scott hopes he turned a pair.
I'm qualified.
I do have outs against turning a pair.
Scott calls.
I need to make one more pair.
3 pair, really?
Jack on the river. Scott checks.
You won't believe me now. I got to check.
Tony checks.
King.
Ah, liar, liar, liar.
I knew I needed one more pair.
That was just a flat out.
You got one more pair,
lie.
see?
He lied
Look,
too.
you got one more pair.
Oh, he had a pair
You
too?
have to be specific.
Okay, stats time, Joe.
Well, one thing I noticed, Scott Seiver has come to play. He's voluntarily putting his chips in pre-flop over half the time. That's about twice as much as most of the table and 3 times more than Todd, but it is a small sample size.
And we'll keep our eye on it as the game continues.
You're qualified.
Like a usual player will pay you if he's qualified.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. That's what it means. It's pretty basic.
I like your shoes.
Thank you.
They're very nice.
Thank you. They're really tall.
They make her really tall. She's normally so small. She's like,
never hit the river.
she's like my height in those. It's funny.
Daniel, you're very quiet right now.
He's intimidated.
I'm focusing. I'm intimidated by Scott Seiver on my left. He's
Losing
scaring
every
me.
hand. He's intimidated by the loss every hand. All I do is lose every hand. It's very intimidating.
Is there a stat for lying percentage, Joe?
Scott may be trying to bend the truth just a little bit because in reality we can see that he's won more than twice as many pots as everyone else, but he might be a little frustrated because he's lost some of the bigger pots he's been involved in.
Now I get it. Action begins with Vanessa. King Jack. Calls. Daniel. Suited connectors. Raises to 1,600.
This pot's already started to get juicy.
8 for Seiver.
Including Tony G in the big blind, there's 3 players with money in this pot so far. There's about to be 4. Scott could be considering a re-raise.
Nope, just a call.
Could be getting out of line, no.
Brunson folds.
It's a good time for me to get out of line.
Every time is a good time for you to get out of line.
Folds to Tony, who's suited and calls.
Tony stays perfectly in line. I don't see Vanessa folding. She might be thinking about a squeeze to see if she can take it down pre-flop.
There's a call.
She probably figures that a squeeze wouldn't get many of these maniacs to fold.
So 4 to the flop. 8 tray 7.
Scott Seiver's flopped the best hand with 3 8s.
Tony has fired 4,000. Vanessa folds.
Tony's semi-bluffing his flush draw.
Daniel with middle pair.
Daniel knows Tony could have anything. He's not likely to fold second pair on this board to 1 bet.
There's a call.
After a bet and a call, Scott knows there are a lot of cards he wouldn't like to see at the turn.
Looks like a raise.
I'm all in.
Daniel's out.
I call.
Scott calls.
Wah, wah, wee, wah.
That's bad.
You got flush draw there.
However many times you want to run it is fine by
once.
me. Once is fine by me.
3 8s. Flush draw.
Thank you, Daniel.
That's nice.
Good luck, Olin.
Ouch. Harsh.
A spade is coming for sure. The board might pair, but there's like no way. You're so due to hit a flush. You're so due to hit a flush. It's unreal.
I haven't hit one. I'm happy to go home.
Actually, Scott Seiver is the one that's all in right now.
Tony, I really do like you, but I got to admit I'm rooting for myself.
I want a spade to come. Nothing personal.
No, that is something personal.
No, I don't really care about you and your money. You have plenty.
No, that's a different way. I didn't say personal towards me. It is personal.
So Tony's going to need to hit a spade or running straight cards.
The turn, a 9.
Nope. Now you need a 6. That'd be much better.
6 would be much better. Lots of outs. Come on, dealer, let's do it one time.
I don't know. Us kids on the internet talk about too many outs syndrome. When you pick up this many outs on the turn, never hit. You need to be like cut down to 2 outs going into the river to hit it.
I believe you.
Yeah, I know. Believe it.
Possible.
It's science.
It's not impossible.
It's mathematical fact. This is a classic too many outs syndrome right here.
Truth be told, Tony's only picked up 1 more out.
The river's the 3 of diamonds.
Too easy. She's consistent. Well, thank you.
See you later, man.
Well done, everyone.
You
Take
ran
care.
like awful.
Nah,
Yeah.
it's no hope.
Tony seems to think he's busted.
Yeah, if you want to count, it's a double check, but D7D.
He actually has more chips at the table. Either doesn't know or doesn't care. So who's going to fill that seat?
So I really like Tony, though.
We'll find out when we return to Vegas for more of the big game after this. Welcome back to the big game, and over the break, Tony G returned, though oddly he has decided not to rebuy.
Tony G's apparently got so much money, what he's got left isn't worth trying to find the cage. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you can't exactly play optimal poker with a stack like that.
How much you got there, Tony G?
4,200, 44,000.
Well, Joe, here we see that Vanessa and Scott have pretty much chopped up most of Tony's buy-in.
It's an awfully big buy-in. Tony G is getting crushed here tonight. I'm not really sure why he's even playing that super small stack. In Tony's case, he can't do much more damage to himself, but continuing to sit with 10 big blinds is pretty masochistic. It can be plus EV to play with a short stack in a cash game, but Tony's probably tilting and his play is likely to be far from short stack optimal.
Easy game, both top full and top set.
Daniel folds. Seiver. 6 deuce suited. Limps in. Todd Brunson, also suited, gets rid of his. Aaron Jensen, the loose cannon, on the button. Folds. Tony calls. Vanessa checks her option.
Jack 10's a decent hand, but a check is pretty standard. Vanessa's out of position. Tony's short, and you don't want to bloat the pot with a hand that makes a bad top pair.
8-9-9. Tony checks. Vanessa checks, and Seiver checks.
Vanessa's flopped an open-ender.
5 of diamonds on the turn. Tony checks. Vanessa checks.
Scott's in position, and it's been checked to him twice.
Top set.
Scott bets.
Couldn't have like 2 9s or something to make it. Yeah. To give me some folding equity. I'm like some donkey.
Tony's out.
I'm such a donkey. Unbelievable.
Vanessa's got 2 overs and an open-ender. I don't see her giving a lot of credit to Scott for many hands that have her drawing dead.
She raises to 3,000.
It's a pretty small raise. She may be trying to make it look like she wants a call.
Scott folds.
She takes it down by bluffing with the best hand.
I might do like a Phil Hellmuth thing and blind it out.
You really just cost me, another $2,000 by not going all in there. I don't understand. Let Vanessa win this hand.
Queen, I had a queen. I mean,
oh yeah, you had me good. You had me beat.
I had you beat?
Yeah, I was gonna gamble, but you honestly had me beat.
Not satisfied till Tony's lost every last penny. Scott's tilting Tony like a kid with a pinball machine.
Scott folds to get this hand started. Brunson suited and out of here. Also suited is the loose cannon. He raises to 1,500.
Aaron's raising his suited 1 gappers in position just like the big boys do.
Action folds to Daniel with a suited 2 gapper, and he calls.
I can wait 1 more hand.
Daniel is dominated headed to this flop.
Which is queen, jack, queen. Daniel checks.
I have come back from this before, so.
Jensen fires 2,300.
23?
Neither player's got anything, even though Aaron's got the best hand. I'm sure he doesn't know it.
Daniel raises to 8,300.
Looks like Daniel may have caught on to Aaron's c-betting ways. Aaron's trying to make it look like he's got some kind of a decision in an attempt to tell Daniel that this move won't work every time. I don't think Aaron can really play back at him here.
He doesn't, folds, and Daniel wins.
Aaron's had the right idea so far. No need to go crazy there, but I'm interested to see if he's able to fire second and third barrels when the time comes. If he can, I have to think that he's got a real chance to walk away with a profit.
And it was with we both had nothing hands basically for how much we put in. So
You lie so much, it's unreal. I was checker. I was going to move it all in. I was going to 5-bet, 6-bet, 9-bet the guy. But, she forgot to raise. I was going to shove, blah, blah, blah.
It's true, because you've never seen me run the 5-bet, 7-bet, 9-bet before.
I don't know. I've never played with you. Once, maybe.
Daniel and Scott settling in for a long week of sitting next to each other.
9s for the cannon.
Way back in the day. Back when you wore hockey jerseys.
No, it wasn't that long ago.
The cannon raises to 1,300.
Back when you were true to your roots.
Back in the day, Daniel used to wear a lot of oversized hockey jerseys.
13, right? 13.
And smelled strangely of maple syrup and Zamboni exhaust.
The action is on Daniel, who calls. Scott, 9, queen.
Scott knows there's a good chance Daniel just called in position.
Scott's coming over the top to 6,200.
Scott's out of position, but he's attempting to isolate our amateur loose cannon, Aaron. Thinks maybe he can outplay him post-flop. Scott Seiver has assumed the position.
Aaron's sticking around, makes the call.
Pot limit before the flop, no limit after the flop.
Yeah.
And Daniel folds.
With Daniel folding a queen, Jensen's 9s are even more of a favorite.
You're just gonna go all in and go, oops.
No, but I mean, I just no one.
The flop, tray 10, deuce.
Aaron's got the best hand, but we know Scott doesn't need to have a hand to fire at a pot.
Seiver fires 7 grand.
Daniel, you got chips on you?
Yeah, you want some?
Just give me 50.
Even multimillionaires hate paying ATM fees.
It's just 50 grand, Joe. Just 50, no big deal.
Chip up. It's too low. Thanks.
Tony's adding 50.
And Aaron Jensen's adding a lot more. Raised to nearly 36 grand.
This is very impressive. Not only does this raise tell Scott Seiver that Aaron thinks he has the best hand, it also tells him that he just might be pot committed.
And Scott folds.
Nice play by our loose cannon. Not sure Scott believes him, but all he had was a queen high, so he's forced to lay it down. And Aaron Jensen takes down a really nice sized pot. He's now up 10% of his starting stack, and he's playing as good or better than any of the loose cannons we've seen.
For the first time tonight, Aaron has turned a profit. Can he keep it? Can he build on it? Find out when we come back. Welcome back to the big game where Tony G has gotten another 50 grand and now has a $100,000 loan from Daniel.
Folks, those 425K chips came from Daniel's pocket, not from his stack.
I won't play with that unless I have a good hand.
I understand. these are the bad hand chips. Those are the good hand chips. So I think
if I put those in, that means
a lot more of these. That means like you play a lot more bad.
I qualify. That means like I got a king high flush draw.
You were qualified.
Ace-9 for Vanessa.
High flush draw.
She folds.
Ace-3 of spades I was hoping for there. That would have been the best.
Action folds over to Scott. Tray 10, suited. Raised to 1,500. Todd.
It's nice when I'm losing. It's good.
Folds.
There's a lot of pleasure to be gotten in that. You get to feel like a lot of other people feel, you know, when you crash.
I finally get to feel how a lot of... I thought you were just going like wry sarcasm and humor there for a while, but then that was actually just an awesome statement. That was really good.
Tony G is called.
Yep. Sure is. No, I actually appreciate these moments
when
you're crushed.
I really enjoy this.
The flop, tray king 4.
Yeah, don't worry.
No, well, yeah, I mean, it's...
Check.
It's not ideal to be...
Check.
Losing so much on national television.
9 on the turn. Check.
And giving a lot of speeches. That's what happens, you know. There's two ends of the stick.
Scott bets 1,500.
The other end. Have you got actually something?
Oh, I don't think I bet enough. I wanted to bet 1 chip more than your blacks, but I think I bet like too short. Yeah. Damn it. There's no way you were calling if I bet 18, but 15 you're gonna call. This sucks for me.
I think like, did you make a king and check?
Yeah.
Tony folds.
Considering calling with queen high. Might have been good.
Queen high wasn't good this time.
Show me one time. You had a king? That would make me proud if I... Go on.
Scott doesn't show.
It's a serious game here.
Did you have a king?
No.
Come on, I got nothing. Nothing.
So Scott takes down another pot. What's going on here, Joe?
Scott is aggressive pre-flop over a third of the time, so it's really, really hard to put him on a hand. On the other side of things is the anti-Seiver, Todd. He seems to be sitting back and waiting for big hands or good spots. We'll see how that works out for him.
Yeah. So queen high was still...
The queen high wasn't good.
Not yet. But I had outs.
All the outs.
The queen and the 7.
Yeah, both are outs.
8-5 suited for Daniel. Raised to 1,200.
So raise would have done it. I was thinking about 5,000.
Like I said, most people would say I'm not qualified.
Seiver folds. Todd's out. Jensen on the button.
Medium ace on the button. To play this hand would be a bit of a gamble.
But he does. Calls.
Our loose cannon's not afraid to gamble.
Tony folds. Pocket 10s for Vanessa Rousso. Re-raises to 4,000.
Daniel should know that Vanessa has a pretty decent hand to re-raise his under the gun raise.
He calls.
And Scott Seiver's off to go flirt with Amanda.
The loose cannon folds. So down to 2 on the flop, which is 6 tray 7.
This is a decent but dangerous flop for Vanessa. Daniel's flopped a straight draw.
Vanessa fires 6 grand.
She's betting with what she believes to be the best hand, and there are plenty of cards she doesn't want to see hit the turn. Daniel's hand might look well disguised, but if he hits his straight, it'll put a 4-card straight out there, and he might not make all that much on it. So he'll probably either call 1 street and fold if he misses, or raise here to try to take this down right now.
Daniel calls.
He's going to need a 4 or a 9.
There's the 4.
Daniel's made his straight, but it does put a potential flush out there. Vanessa does have a draw to a 10-high flush at this point as well.
Scott's back.
Dude, you get a number?
Vanessa checks.
Daniel's in an interesting spot. He does have the best hand, but he may be afraid of those diamonds.
I have no idea what to do here, to be honest with you. I'm supposed to do something. I don't know what, though. Phone a friend.
Ask the audience. Cut the choices in half.
All right, well, if he's going to take a 50-50, it might be because he thinks he's either way ahead or way behind. If he's ahead, he probably won't make all that much, and if he's behind, he's drawing dead.
Daniel checks aggressively. The river, the king of diamonds, giving Rousso a flush.
A fantastic card for Vanessa, though she may not know it. Going to be tough for her to bet for value.
It goes check, check, and Vanessa wins.
Straight, no good.
Saved money. I had a straight. I saved money.
Do you really?
Yep.
No, you don't.
Uh-huh.
I did save money.
Yeah.
Huh? Actually, I finally figured out exactly the right way to play it, and I did. Yay. Yay me.
Well, that's the next level. That's the genius level.
Step 1 of the right way to play it is to not say out loud, man, I have no idea how to play it.
No, that was part of the whole plan. Trust me.
That's what I'm saying. You definitely got it wrong.
That hand's going to get talked about, the one I had against you.
So Vanessa is now up over 110K.
Not only is she crafty, she's got the skills to pay the bills.
Scott's up nearly 80K, and the loose cannon's up over 9.
And Tony G is way down. Good thing he's rich.
And that's our last hand of the night. Our loose cannon is hanging in there while the night hasn't been so kind to Tony G. Come back tomorrow to see if his fortunes can change. I'm Amanda Leatherman saying goodbye for now. And remember, if you've got the cash and the guts, there's always a seat open at the big game. See you next time.
For Joe Stapleton, I'm Chris Rose. See you tomorrow night.
Are you hanging in there?
Yeah.
Hanging
in.
Yeah? What do you got?
We're going to keep Tony G alive somehow.
You're keeping Tony G
Daniel's
alive.
keeping
We
me
can't
alive.
lose Tony G.
Yeah, I don't want to lose him. He's like the best part of the show.
You get Lexington, who's going to play one hand every 20.
Nice session for you. What? Nice session for you?
Oh, you got it.
Yeah.
The preceding was a presentation from PokerStars.com.